Now, millions of tenants could get the right to buy the homes they rent from housing associations, it emerged over the weekend. Boris Johnson recently asked officials to develop the proposals to help Generation Rent. That's young and sometimes not so young adults trying to get on the housing ownership ladder, perhaps with an eye on upcoming local elections. And that's what those officials came up with. Back in the early 1980s, Margaret Thatcher launched the original Right to Buy scheme, under which more than 2.5 million council homes were sold to tenants at discounted rates. Then Housing Minister Michael Heseltine said no single piece of legislation has enabled the transfer of so much capital wealth from the state to the people. Right to Buy infuriated the left, though, who said the scheme slashed the number of council homes available to people on waiting lists. And it is certainly true that under both Tory and Labour governments, council houses sold were by no means replaced one for one with new subsidised housing for low-income tenants. Back in the 50s, the UK was building an average of around 200,000 council homes each year, and that had fallen to 86,000 in 1979 when Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister. The number of council homes built each year then plunged throughout the 80s and has remained very small, just a few thousand each year since the 90s under Tory, Labour and coalition governments. The reality is there are now 1.2 million people on the council house waiting list, many now accommodated in substandard and cramped temporary homes. And when council houses are sold off, history shows they aren't replaced. So does it make sense to sell off even more? And that's our On the Money question today. Another big council house sell-off. Is it fair?